Hi everyone, my name is Will and this is Married You!
We'll be talking about our Culminating project, which is
Connections among education, salary, and career paths. Our thesis statement is there a connection among education, salary, and career paths? We hypothesize that career paths require certain educational levels and degrees to acquire a position in a global competitive market. Thus, salaries ranges differ with many diverse career paths that based on performance and expertise.
Before we begin, here's a short introduction about education and workforce. The desire of gaining more knowledge has been existing for many centuries. Through that, many famous philosophers and also scientists have struggled to obtain knowledge about the world. Education has been important, since it creates numerous possibilities to a person's career. Today, education also serves as a training, which makes the students more experienced for their future career. Due to this, higher education is now a requirement in many places, including expertise jobs. As a result, a person with a high educational degree will have a much higher chance of getting hired.
As we try to come up with our topic for this culminating project, we suddenly thought about high school.
Since during high school, we were in a daze after days, only concerned about our grades and also our daily.
However, since we were at our last year of high school, we felt the sudden pressure of deciding our future careers.
As we kept thinking, what will make a decent topic? A curiosity towards the topic suddenly appeared, which is,
What will we do after we leave high school?
many students have faced these repetitive questions.
What field do I have to go into?
Will I be happy there?
How far do I want to go into a field of study?
Bachelor's, master's, PhD?
If I go into a certain field, will I like it?
These questions have always been either answered with a doubt, which leads students into spending and wasting large amount of money, either changing or dropping courses.
Since high school is almost over and yet we still lack the knowledge of higher education, we decided,
Why not do a research solely on this?
shouldn't we know the facts?
How many people take these courses?
How many people drop out?
Most importantly, does going to college or university help build a lifelong career?
In order to organize our idea, we started to create a mind map. We firstly added university since it is going to be our main focus.
However, we realized during our research solely based on university would be too broad, so we thought,
What qualifies as a successful education and career?
well, how is successful education and career usually represented? It usually differs among people, although salary would probably be the major point.
Due to this, we have added salary as one of our points for our mind map. However, we realized how should we connect university and salary?
Since university consists of many different choices, the salary would most likely differ from one another.
Due to that, we decided to add another point, which is field of study.
Overall, we have chosen the main topic, the different salaries, and the field of study. However, it felt like something was missing.
Since there are different levels of education in high school, there should be different levels of education in university.
High school has workplace between university as the levels. University would be between bachelor and PhD.
We have added level of education since there are various of different degrees.
Since we have found our subtopics, we wanted to find the connection between the three, and also how people's careers are affected by it.
Due to that, we made questions based on the three subtopics.
Number 1. How many people go into each field of study? What is the extent of education do they have, and are there patterns of who goes into those courses?
We expected that the enrollment in various specialized university fields such as electrical mechanics or transportation degrees are low for as much as demand jobs that requires great abundance everywhere to be much higher, such as education and medical fields.
Number 2. What is the correlation between the field of study and the salary for that group and that of another field?
We expected that the correlation between the field of study and the salary depends on the education level and expertise. The difficult and more demanding fields of study will obtain higher salary. For instance, an arts graduate would not make the same amount as a nurse and law clerk. Overall, the more stressful and hectic careers would receive higher pay than less difficult or not in demand.
Number 3. How does the attainment of higher degree affect the salary within a field of study?
It is very reasonable that a certain field with higher education level will provide higher qualifications and great training in which further meets the criteria, thus affecting the salary better.
We have gathered a tremendous amount of data about education in several databases, but we thoroughly filter all sources to ensure they fulfill the criteria. The two main sources of data, both provided by Statistics Canada, were the 2001 Canadian Census and yearly tallies of Canadian university enrollments.
One of the necessary topics to consider about education degrees in all forms of education is the amount of people learning and taking educational courses.
Some important questions to examine are:
What is the most taken course?
what is the least taken course?
What kind of person takes it?
How many people graduate from each field?
There are an enormous amount of options to consider when picking at diverse courses many universities offer. There are the arts and information, technology, business, community and early childhood, health sciences, and preparatory liberal studies. The list goes on. Question: how people take these courses? Who takes the courses?
This pie graph represents the data of the academic year's enrollment on years 2001 and 2002. Just by observing the graph, personal improvement and leisure, and also agricultural, natural resources, and conservation contains fewer people compared to the rest. This is due to the fact that people will choose the field of study which provides a job after learning the field.
Next, individual provinces are observed based on the population and university enrollment across Canada. Ontario and Quebec seem very different from the rest, suggesting that populations of individual provinces vary widely and must be regarded.
This latest graph that exhibits the 2001 census from the 2001 and 2002 university enrollments divided by the individual population were surprising. The ratio of 2001 enrollment census over province population disproved many of our assumptions that we based on population and geography. Therefore, the greatest university enrollment population ratio would be the one that had the largest percentage of its citizens at university.
We mentally hypothesized that Ontario would rank first because of fewer natural resources available and less demand in primary industry professions. Unlike in the prairies and maritimes, this was invalidated when Nova Scotia proved to have the greatest population attending university with just over 4.4% of post-secondary education. Ontario came sixth with 2.9% and British Columbia was shockingly last with 2.05%.
In fact, there is no correlation between geography of a province and its amount of citizens enrolling in university.
In our early stages of observation process, we expected provinces such as Ontario and Quebec, which are inland, to have greater proportion of students at university because the economy does not rely on natural resources and primary occupations.
On the other hand, the Maritimes and the Prairies have an expected greater percentage of their population in universities.
This suggests that a great number of tertiary positions are opening in resource-oriented places where people want better paying careers in which interests them to further their education. Levels of education versus salary. While researching about this topic, we expected to obtain many data involving the relationship between the education role of person to their salary.
However, as we continued searching through the database to find out whether it was worth spending another additional 4 or more years to obtain a higher degree of education, there was not any data that states the salary differences between university degrees between distinct fields.
Although we were able to find information that states the differences between the level of schooling to their salary earnings.
Since we are looking for the information of how education level affects an individual's earnings, comparing an individual with an annual salary of $2,000 and less would be pointless, since a person cannot effectively live with that salary.
In contrast, we compared people with an annual salary of $40,000 and higher overall, citizens who earn $40,000 and over are tallied into a chart. We found the totals to be strange because the amount of people who didn't have a high school education have a greater chance of getting a better salary. We came up to a realization that we repeated our earlier assumption that the number of people in each type of education being similar and corrected the totals by converting them to percentages.
People with more than $40,000 of salary.
The graph shows the result we were deeply anticipating. The more education people have, the more successful they will be in their career.
The salary of the people who went to university is remarkably high compared to those who went into the workforce after high school, and is over triple the amount of people with less than a high school diploma.
All in all, people who obtain a university level occupation has nearly 50% chance acquiring a profitable job. Side note, out of the 5 salary ranges that were inputted for the university education level, 450,065 people had $75,000 salaries.
It also came to our consideration that the total salary of all levels of education peaked at one point and subsided on both of its greater and lesser values. We used a line graph to represent our data and formed a bell curve structure.
Overall salaries. After several trials, it may not be a perfect bell curve, but we found a curve that best fitted the data.
Using this information, we extrapolated the average wage for a Canadian citizen as an amount between $25,000 and $30,000 or $27,500.
The first deviation should mark 34% of the data when progressed right from the peak.
Since 34% to the right holds 68% of the people past the average, we went 68% of the way between $27,500 and $75,000 and received $59,800.
We then looked for the standard deviation by subtracting 27,500 from the total and found 32,300.
If X is greater than 59,800, then X should be 16% of the total people who work in Canada.
We received an extremely close total of 15.295%.
After that, we compared this bell curve to the percentage chance of getting over 40,000 salaries after going to university.
Using z-scores, we stated that 40,000 is 12,500 away from 27,500 and has a deviation of 0.3869.
The corresponding percentage states that 35.2% of the workforce have jobs that have salaries over 40,000.
Comparing that to the university rate, 49.4%, university graduates have a greatly increased chance of getting a higher paying job.
Comparing the salary of the major fields of study, universities provide a qualification that improves job prospects and the opportunity for a bigger salary, but how do the salaries of different occupations stack up?
It may be nice to find out architectural occupations benefit most, but if you are going to healthcare, how does that help you?
We want to clarify the comparison of occupation salaries directly at different educational levels, and specifically at the university level.
Here are the salaries at different education levels of the three major fields of study: social sciences, natural sciences, and technical occupations.
The order of salary in which the occupations fall into the same for all 5 educational cases.
Natural sciences were followed by social sciences, and finally, technical occupations.
This accurately proves our early hypothesis that occupations that require more knowledge and training get paid more.
So in conclusion, we decided to reevaluate our early expectations. Number 1, our anticipated hypothesis that enrollment in various specialized university fields that are not in demand would be minimal, inasmuch as in-demand occupations would dominate universities, was correct. Moreover, the level of education differ from many different areas so as the availability of jobs.
Number 2, the correlation between the field of study and the salary depends on the educational level and expertise. The difficult and more demanding fields of study will obtain higher salary. Overall, the more stressful and hectic careers will receive higher pay than the less difficult or not in demand. This expectation was validated when math and science occupational salaries suggested remarkably high earnings.
Number 3, we expected that in a given field, the higher the education level, the greater the salary. Our research validated that in any field, additional training and the increasing difficulty of the training warranted a greater salary.
In the process of researching the connection between education and salary, we have faced multiple problems. For instance, the insufficient information between the different university degrees and their salary for every distinct career.
Although in the verge of the crisis, we have found another topic, which was a comparison between the different educational levels: university, college, workplace, and high school, and their salary.
Overall, conducting a research solely based on education and earnings was entertaining and also rewarding, since we will most likely use this information not only for this project but also for future reference.
So for further research, if we were to do a further research as a continuation to this topic, expanding the research towards different career fields would be ideal.
Also, a further research towards employment rates in a given field, because someone can get a job that their occupational education doesn't fall into.